everyone, and welcome to my channel. So if you are new here, my name is Emily and this is my channel, Books for Life. I'm a teacher and I love to review books and just talk about books and try to promote literacy with students. And one of my goals here is to review books and then let other educators know whether or not these books are classroom appropriate. So today I'm going to talk about 3 different books. It's all centered around Jane Eyre. So during the month of August, I read The Janes, which is what I'm calling this video, and I read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And then I read a sci-fi spin-off of Jane Eyre called Brightly Burning by Donne. And then I read another spin-off of Jane Eyre called My Plain Jane by Cynthia, Brodi, Ashton, and Jodi Meadows. So I read all 3 of these this month and I want to take a few moments and just share with you my thoughts. So the first book I picked up was Jane Eyre. I wanted to have some background information with the original before I read the spin-off versions. So I started with this one. When I got to about page 50, I picked up Brightly Burning and then I read them at the same time. Then I finished Brightly Burning while I was still reading this one and I was only at like 110. And then I picked up My Plain Jane and I finished My Plain Jane while continuing to read Jane Eyre. And to be honest with you, I have still not finished Jane Eyre. Don't hate me. I know that I'm going to be an unpopular opinion. I am on page 147 of Jane Eyre. And it's not that I don't plan on finishing it, I just have had no desire to finish it. I'm hoping in the future I will pick this back up and continue reading it, but I just haven't. I didn't want to continue reading. So when I read, I want to read to escape my world, to not really have to think. I want to read for entertainment. I want to just sit down, relax, have a cup of tea, and read, and just kind of tune out everything else. And when I was reading Jane Eyre, I could do that to some extent, but I also had to reread and I also looked up words and I liked the plot, but I'm not in love with the plot. And I know that there are a lot of people who really love Charlotte Bronte and I think that I will continue to read this slowly, but it's been a few weeks now because it was in the beginning of August that I read the other 2 and I have had no desire to continue it. Because I have DNF'd it at this point, I'm not sure what type of rating I can really give it, so I guess I'm leaning to like a 2.5, 3 because I don't want to finish it. I liked the overall plot. I liked that we got to know Jane Eyre as a small child and then into her school years and then as a teacher and accepting this position. I know what happens because my sister-in-law, yeah, I'm calling you out, Heather, spoiled it for me on vacation. She told me what happens and how it all goes down because she watched the movie, and it made sense given what I was reading in both of these, what she told me, so I'm assuming she didn't lie. I don't love the idea of the twist of what's causing the fire and all that. I don't know. I feel like because I already know what happens, I don't need to read it. And I don't frankly want to read it, so I'm not going to at this point. So that's my thoughts on Jane Eyre. So while I was reading Jane Eyre, I was reading Brightly Burning. And Brightly Burning is a sci-fi spin-off of Jane Eyre. It takes place in space. So the world had a volcanic eruption and it sent it into another ice age. And so people boarded spaceships and they have been orbiting Earth for just over 200 years now. Stella Ainsley is our Jane Eyre in this book, and she is working as an engineer / teacher aboard the Stalwart, which is the poorest of all of the spaceships. And so she decides that she's not really happy there and she applies to be a governess on other ships, and the only ship that replies is the Rochester, and so they send another ship to come get her, and then she goes and she boards the Rochester, which is actually orbiting the moon and is the only spaceship to be orbiting the moon, so they're kind of like outcasts in that way. And from there the story continues. I really, really enjoyed this story. I loved it in space. I thought that was a really interesting twist. I like the twist they had on all the mysterious things that was happening. I thought that the choices they made were really smart for a YA novel because it made the characters more relatable. And I also love that they made Stella an engineer. They didn't only give her a stereotypical female role as a teacher, but they gave her like a badass job. She's an engineer. She was able to fix, there's like this huge fire, and she's able to fix it and come up with a solution and is able to solve the ship's problem. And I think that's great. I love that they gave her a job that is typically male, and I thought that was a great choice. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I devoured this book in like 2 days. I truly enjoyed it. To be honest, I preferred this over the original, but but I really thought the choices that she made were smart. I think that it made the book more relatable to teenagers because that's who this is geared towards. I liked the cover. I think the cover is really pretty. And I just thought that this was a really interesting retake on a classic story. So then I buddy read My Plain Jane with Leslie, and I will link her channel below. And we read this together in the beginning of August. We had set a goal of 75 pages a day, and she exceeded me right from the beginning because she just kind of wanted to fly through this book because neither one of us enjoyed it. So I will link her channel below, and I will also provide a link to her video about this book because we both have very similar feelings, and I really enjoyed buddy reading with her. It was my first buddy read. I thought it was a lot of fun. I loved that we were on the same page so we could kind of like diss the book together. I did not enjoy this book at all. I had to push myself to read it. I thought this whole like society for, what is it called? The Society of Wayward Spirits. I thought it was silly. I thought that was odd. I didn't like that as a choice. I did, however, love that they included Charlotte Bronte as a character, and not just like a quick appearance character. Like she played a pretty significant role throughout this book, and I thought that was really interesting to include her. And I actually really liked her character. She didn't just, listen, and she questioned things, and she, thought outside the box, and she was creative, and I really did enjoy that. These 3 authors also tried to bring in a lot of the things from the original Jane Eyre, which I do applaud them for. However, I think like they broke the barrier. They addressed the reader a little bit too much. I don't think that they had to do it as much as they did. It kind of just became annoying. I don't love how they did that. However, a few of the times they did, they inserted their own little jokes, and I thought that was good. I liked that they added that humor to it. I also hated the way this story ended, and I don't want to spoil it in case you want to still read it, but I was so disappointed with the ending that I just kind of like tossed the book when I was finished. I was like, are you kidding me? How can you do this? So I just was really frustrated with this book the entire time. I hated the plot changes. I hated how they added in these ghosts. And I think that Jane Eyre could be a really cool, creepy ghost story if it was done correctly. And I think that they just really wanted this to be funny, and I really just did not enjoy it. So I'm only going to give it a 1.5 out of 5 stars. I don't ever want to read it again. I will add it to my classroom library. Maybe a couple kids will pick it up. I've heard such good things about their first one, My Lady Jane, and now I don't even want to read it. So if you have read it, please let me know if you enjoyed that one more than this one, and was that one more of a serious book? Because this one just was kind of like a spoof book, and that's not what I wanted. So this is my review on my 3 Jane books for the month of August. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and in the comments below, please let me know, have you read these 3 books? What did you think? Have you enjoyed these books? Am I the unpopular opinion here? I'm sure I am. But let me know what you thought, or if you plan on reading one of these. Let me know in the comments because I'd love to talk to you about it. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to, you could hit that little bell on the side that will notify you every time I post a new video. And who doesn't want that? So thank you so much for watching, and keep reading!